Hi everybody, my name is Lynn Ismail and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about how my 2024 Dahlia season went. Well, it didn't really go that well. If you grow dahlias, or if planning on growing dahlias, or just interested in learning what I did wrong for this season, continue on watching. At the beginning of the season, I was so excited in growing some dahlias. They're beautiful focal flowers that start blooming sometimes late July, August through frost. They come in various forms, various colors, so I was excited to grow varieties I've never grown before. Dahlias do well in a sunny situation, so I had them planted in my front yard in the city. They got full sun, I amended the soil, I got the irrigation set up, and I was hoping that I would have a good dahlia season, but like the title of this video, I didn't. So where did I go wrong? Let's start from the beginning. The last two seasons, I started my dahlias in pots, or at least pre-sprouted them. So by the time they're ready for planting, for sure that there's no frost coming, I can get them planted out in the garden. This year I didn't do that. Well, I didn't do most of them. I planted them straight to the ground. Most people do it that way, so I thought I should just skip the step and try it like that as well. The only thing is I didn't realize that we have a lot of snails and slugs. I planted them first week of June, and typically I would start seeing shoots in about 3 weeks, and by the end of June they're still very minuscule, or at least they looked like something's been chewing on them. So I was questioning whether I used the wrong compost, like if my compost was contaminated or if my dahlias were diseased. But then one morning, when I was doing my liquid fertilizing routine of fish emulsion and unsulfured molasses, that I realized we have slugs and snails problems, and that's what's been eating my baby dahlias. So I've got some safers, the ones that you don't have sluggos here in Canada. We have safers you can buy from Canadian Tire. So I applied them liberally and maybe tossed a few snails here and there into the street. And then after that, they started growing. So I thought I should be fine. Slugs are gone, snails are gone. I should be fine, right? Well, turns out I had another problem. I've planted dahlias close to trees before, near a maple tree, near spruce. I didn't have any problem. But here in the city, my front yard is flanked by two trees, a cedar and a linden tree. They've been growing where they were for at least the last 10 years, and I thought they were drought tolerant because I never watered them. And the only water they got was from the rain. So I thought it should be fine. But they sense the irrigation that I set up, and the roots start invading the garden bed. Now, I don't know if that's because I was doing pulsative irrigation. What that is having my irrigation set up for 2 minutes every 4 hours. The idea is this moisture in the soil stays longer if you keep irrigating it in short amount of time, but more frequently. Everywhere where I was doing the pulsative irrigation, all were doing fine. All the plants that were receiving pulsative irrigation was doing fine, except for the dahlias. And I didn't realize that until I dug up my dahlias this year and saw lots of roots on the bed because the dahlias were competing with the two trees. I'm not really sure which one was the culprit, if it was the cedar or the linden, but I did some research and it shows that they both have shallow roots. So I don't know which one of them, or it could be a combination of both. I don't know. I'm not a root expert. But because the roots pretty much strangled the dahlias, and because they didn't grow, they didn't have any leafy growth, they had no flowers. And partly because the tubers themselves were restricted. Some of the tubers I uprooted recently, they're just really tiny. And because I planted most of my dahlias in that particular bed, I didn't really have a good dahlia season. I did get a few blooms, and the ones that I got were really pretty. I do have two varieties that were really outstanding. The first one was Pink Runner. I did plant that in the front lot. I planted in my backyard, and they did very well. They did very well in terms of how many flowers they produced and how many tubers they produced afterwards. Very healthy plant. I had no doubt. I've no doubt I'm going to plant them again. The next one that did very well, even with those two trees flanked them, was Ferncliff Galaxy. It has really purple, dark lavender purple dahlias. They just kept blooming. They were late to bloom. They were more like close to September when they started blooming, but they kept blooming until November. So I'm happy about that, and I'm going to be growing them again. So moving forward, what I'm going to do next year, I'm going to start the tubers in pots, get them to vegetatively grow a little bit more. That's a tongue twister. Vegetatively grow. Is that even a word? Anyway, I want more leaves to grow before I plant them out, just so they're less susceptible to slugs. That's one. Number two, I'm gonna be planting them away from those trees. No dahlias will be going to be planted in that spot again. Instead of dahlias, I'm gonna be planting cut flowers that have deeper taproots, so they don't have to be strangled by those tree roots. So stuff like sunflowers, cosmos, celosias, and amaranths should be okay because they can tolerate lower water irrigation because they do okay even with less water. As for my dahlias next year, I'll be trying a new method. Once they're ready to be planted outside, I'll plant them out first in a 2-gallon container, and then that 2-gallon container will be buried. At least half of it will be buried underground. The idea is to prevent any invasive roots to attack them again, and also to conserve water. If you have that barrier, you can contain the moisture where dahlias are planted, and so they won't have to compete with other plants around them. Hopefully I'm making sense. So there you go. Those are my mistakes for 2024. I make those mistakes so you won't have to. If you've reached the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I said I tried to show up here every Thursday, but I missed last Thursday. But maybe every other Thursday is more realistic, as for now anyway, because of, life. So until I see you next time, bye for now.